But let's go to the last speaker. I'm very happy to have Statistics Italy with us on board because Switzerland is working very closely with Italy on different projects. We meeting often, and I think it's fantastic to see how the National Statistical Office has changed since we have the adoption of the 2030 agenda. There was, as Stefan described, I mean, it was the same was happening on the global or the UN level, the same happened on the national level. I mean, it's much more modernized communication. And as Stefan said, I mean, Serenella is also responsible for communication. I think that's the way to go. And at the UN meetings, we are talking often about storytelling. I think we're doing that since 10 years, but I think I see some progress now in the last few years. So I think it's great to see how a national statistical office is producing and communication data today. There's a much stronger link now to census data. I mean, census data are very old ones, and it's great to see this transformation. And I just give the floor to you, Serenella, and to see how Italy is working with data today.
Thank you everybody. Good evening, and let me start with my presentation. Of course, I want to draw oh, I'm sorry, I think I have the same problem of my colleague.
It looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Yes, yes.
So my speech will focus in general on the importance of data visualization. I agree with Stefan when he says that infographics are for lazy people, but I should say not only for, and I agree when he said that seeing is believing, and for communication, for every type of communication, seeing is believing in data. So before focus on the topic and on the PP census, permanent population census, I would like to draw your attention to 3 points, which from my point of view are perfectly suited to this situation. First point is about the use of the net. The web changed the way by which people interact and research information. We can't avoid to mention this because the web really produces a disaggregation, a global disintermediation, which with consequence on rules of communication, on relationship, on roles. Second point, time. Time today is really an increasing lacking resource. So to communicate every context, especially in data telling, you have to be fast, you have to be competitive, and you have to use, of course, the same language of the net. Third point is just visual language. Sight is the, how can I say, is the most important sense out of 5, and about 9% of the inputs that come to us derive from the eyes, and have a processing speed of less than 1/10 of a second. That's why I agree with Stefan when he say infographics are important for lazy people, but I say it's important for modern times, because as I said, time is an increasing lacking of resource. But why I use this point? Because communication, how can I say, communication, the institutional one, the political one, communication on data is absolutely conditioned by these 3 elements, and we have to use the same language of internauts, the same language of the people of the net. That's why in our institute, in our Istat, we change the way to communicate. Thank you, Benjamin. As you said at the beginning, we moved from a traditional strategy of communication toward a new communication dedicated to users. That's another keyword that I want to use in my speech, and that I recognize even in the world, in the words of Stefan. We have to be seductive, we have to be competitive, we have to occupy as Sentinel a digital world, a digital space, and we have, how can I say, we have to be aware, because we have to do the same language, we have to reach the same aims, not of propaganda, but we need to be equally convincing. That's why infographics, dashboard, cards, images, photos, images are our best allies. And here you can see a lot of our infographics. I noticed that even Vincent spoke about a war, and I think that communicators are, especially today, such like soldiers who were, in case of Istat, to enter in a counter narrative with puts, I think, I believe in this, real data. So web communication tools are very, very important to a good communication, to do data telling, not only storytelling. What I mean by web communication tools, everything, absolutely everything. So infographics, videos, pills, card, as well as photos, games, talent contest offline and online, TV, spot, everything. Here you can see some example of our infographics. We chose a gallery, but I want to give you some elements about our history. You have always to remind that Istituto Nazionale di Statistica, Istat, is public. And I'm proud to say that considering the public administration in Italy, Istat really believes in communication and in modern communication, and found alternative ways to read the reality, with particular attention to the users. We have done a lot, especially since 2014. 2014 was the starting point for our data visualization, our infographics. In fact, we realized the first infographic. It was Italy in a European context, simple, effective, and it was used and dedicated to special stakeholders. It was dedicated and used by journalists who were at that time our main stakeholder. But we moved and we arrived at 2018, and Istat experience grows. This was the first infographic in English. Nowadays, we produce more than 500 infographics per year. 52 are in English, and this was for us a turning point, as it was used by newspaper and by TV. So we understood, not me, because I've been working in Istat since 20, but people who went before me understood simple things, that we had to be. We had to change, and we had to move and change the strategy of communication, particularly dedicating to users. We moved from an occasional production of infographics connected to production, connected to some particular needs, and we plan a regular production to infographic to help stakeholders, and our stakeholders began to grow. And nowadays we speak and we are referred not only to journalists, but to common ordinary people, to public organization, to children, in order to enlarge the platea. I want to use this word, the platea of target, as we really believe in the mission of statistics. We really believe that statistics is a science. Of course, it's a science, but we think that statistics is a science serving the other ones. So if you want to be serving as well as the communication and dissemination, and I thank you, Stefan, even for the quotation about the need to put together communication and dissemination, that indeed are two sides of the same service. Well, as I was already saying, if statistics is serving the other science, communication is serving really users. I want to draw your attention to this infographics. I like it very much. It was not released on my directorate, but it was released in 2019, but it was very popular. You know, look at the expression of the old woman. It's absolutely easy to read, to understand. It's immediate, and that is the real aim of data visualization in our way. As I said, with that image today, it's not possible to communicate. We can forget to be effective. If Vincent quoted the case of pandemic, and even though I would like not to speak again about pandemic, I must show you this data visualization as infographics, as at the same time we were pondering a new strategic about infographics, we began to use even data visualization and graphic tools, and as well as infographics. They revealed, especially on pandemic crisis, absolutely useful to clear up, to solve doubts, to make a counter narrative against fake news and against mystification about data. On the left side, you have a data visualization realized by one of our colleagues, and I'm proud to say the 500,000 of access. We reach 500,000 of access in a short while. On the right side, you have another important dashboard who was asked by one of the most eminent broadcasters in our television in the Italia to support again to clarify doubts against the spread of virus in Italy, and the infographics below with hashtags that we really used during the first lockdown. Istat per il paese, that means it's easy. Istat for the country, is the way we had made our role in clarifying doubts. And again, statistics is a saying serving other statistics. How can I say, if we have to show you our best case, our best practice, or our infographic, of course, we can't avoid to mention the use of data visualization, the use of tools, and the use, of course, of infographics, even speaking about SDGs. You perfectly know this infographics, considering how it's difficult to explain people about SDGs because it's articulated, and considering that Istat is very committed to play an active role of national coordination in the production of indicators for measuring sustainable development, we really found this infographics our best ally, not only ally, a friend to explain, but not only infographics. Of course, even in case of SDGs, we use different ways. So we use videos, we use card, we use interview, we use all tools we have been using since 2016 to be clear. Istat experience about census. We are proud to say that census for us it's a topic. Everybody knows what is census important for, but since 2016, so you can see that everything about communication strategy changed in that year. We had absolutely we were obliged to change the style of innovation because we introduce another way to realize census. We move from a traditional census to a permanent census one. What does it mean? It means, again, here you have a lot of infographics. Colored is one of our main helpful elements in drawing infographic. Red, because red was the color of the campaign, but because red is the color you can read more, especially during, especially using social networks. Here you have other example of infographics. I say that these infographics really introduce an innovation in the way of telling the way of telling census, but not only census, because the same style we use to tell census were copied to tell other campaign. And thanks to this campaign that is the most innovative in public administration, we really reach a large amount of users, and we really reach our aims. We didn't speak only to policymakers who use census data to take decision, both at central and local level. But we really reach simple organization, non-profit world, of course, journalists, blogger, children, school. And so we think we were part of a changement, of a mood, of a sentiment. Currently, is on the way the last census of agriculture, and we are trying to follow the example of census permanent in the way of communicating the communicated census. You can imagine the problem we have had in asking people to follow or to asking people to answer the phone during pandemic, asking at the phone or open the door during the pandemic when we were locked down. So using all the means to speak to the people, to underline the importance of census, because census give us information to be.
Serenella?
Yes?
Sorry, you have, I don't want to interrupt, but you have like 1 minute.
Okay, I'm
Okay, sorry.
No. Probably you notice that I'm very proud for this experience in Istat.
Yes, definitely.
Also, if I okay, I want to leave you with this, if I can. Okay.
Yes, please.
Let me say,
yes.
Because it's easy, it's light, it's impressive, and I think you will find everything I said. Bye. We don't want to leave behind anyone. Bye, everybody, and sorry to be late.